So, I mean, I love this because it does have that kind of Canadian angle. I mean, you
Yeah.
talk about the CBC and Much Music and Chum and all of those. I remember used to work with Terry David Mulligan.
Of course,
back in
yeah,
the
at
day.
TDM.
Yeah, with Much Music.
Much West, of course.
Yes, and it was an interesting time. That was in the 90s, and I was working in a computer store.
Okay,
And he was
yeah.
trying to get on computers and the internet.
Right,
And I remember
right.
going to his place and his office, like there must have been thousands of CDs on the wall.
Sure.
And I was
Yeah.
showing him like, hey, name any song right now, and I can go find that on Usenet.
Yeah.
And with a tool here, I can download and get that song like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's like mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's things that we really take for granted now, just how profoundly mind-blowing they were at the time. You know, when I was writing the book, you know, you're obviously a big gadget guy. When you think of a lot of even the technologies that we use to access music digitally, the shelf life of those products was so short in hindsight. Like, think about like MP3 players in general, not just the iPod. You know, the iPod really changed everything about music. It was like 6 years, it was 7 years. I argue, and I think I might mention this in the book, that from the day it was announced in 2001 to when the first iPhone was announced, that's kind of like the era of the iPod. Like the iPod was pretty much done by 2010. Like it was definitely like on the
Not a long
phase.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and similar. You know, there's a bit of BlackBerry. I mean, BlackBerry was never, you know, a music device, but you know, they did have apps. They did have some partnerships. They famously mentioned this in the book that they hired Alicia Keys. You might remember that as their creative director, which.
And then she got
raised
outed
some
because
eyebrows.
she was posting things from an iPhone.
It's in the book, something about Drake, I feel like. So there is some Canadiana there, I
Yeah.
believe. But again, like just how short-lived a lot of those technologies were, and yet the outsized impact they have in terms of not just how we listen to music in the present day through streaming, and you know, YouTube is still, I feel like, the biggest music, you know, the biggest music platform on earth. You know, so like just where we're coming from, how it really affected how we live today.
So we're older, and you know, I remember
Maybe
back.
you are.
You're 20, right?
Yeah.
I remember, you know, listening to music. It would be, you know, back in my day, I listened to records,
Yeah.
and then you know, cassette tapes, of course, and then the CD came along, and just the profound impact it had on me when digital music came. Like I said, I was able to download MP3s, whether that's legal or not, through Usenet.
Statute of limitations.
Yes.
and stuff.
And then Napster came along.
Yeah.
And that just profoundly changed how music was consumed, not just for nerds, but I think for a wider audience. Was that kind of similar trajectory in Canada here?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, for anyone that grew up during the CD era, the cassette era, music, I mean, as we all remember, anybody who was there, it was extremely scarce. You know, especially because, you know, CDs were kind of expensive, or records were kind of expensive. So, you know, short of the CDs you could own, whatever you could perhaps tape from your buddy's collection or go down to a library or whatever, you know, you might have some cassettes knock around the back of your car or something, but like your music collection was like really, really finite. And that's the stuff that you actually said, I'm actually going to put my money down to get that, to say nothing of like all the people, perhaps you were curious about hearing. There's a section about music retail in the book, and just how ahead of the curve a company like HMV was at the time, where they had like listening stations, so you could go in and actually sample. The idea of like sharing headphones with just members of the general public is sort of another thing. But
Did they clean those things ever?
well, I do know some people. I might check in with some of the people I know who work for HMV.